Hey friends, Justin here. This is crazy. I've made it. After a year of planning, I'm at the start of the wildest and most remote thru hike in North America, the Great Divide Trail. The trail starts at the Canadian-US border. You can see down, this is the cut line for the border. It's 1,100 kilometers heading north from the border through the Canadian Rockies, and I plan on doing the trip in 37 days. I'm gonna have some lunch, go jump off that dock, and then we'll start hiking the trail and I'll tell you what we can expect over the next 37 days. This trip has been a long time in the making. It was 1 year ago that I asked my boss and work if I could take the time off to come hike the Great Divide Trail. And since then, I've been getting my gear dialed in, planning the trip, and doing lots of training. If you're interested in any of how I'm doing that, whether it's my gear list or my food list or what I did to train for the Great Divide Trail, I'll have links to a playlist with all that information in the video description. But the pre-trip stuff was actually quite an adventure in itself. You don't see that from a lot of other thru hikers. They kind of just start the trail and then they're just going, and it's exciting and happy and everything like that. But I don't know why it was a little bit different for me. Maybe it's the same for everyone else, but the last week has been super emotional for me. It's hit me a few different times where all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, I'm hiking the Great Divide Trail. I started getting anxious, kind of doubting myself. I'd start preemptively missing my life and my girlfriend, and it was just really tough the last week here. And then even today, starting the trail, I was super excited, but my girlfriend dropped me off and that was super emotional as well. Luckily, the first little bit of the trail is an out and back, so you go 6 kilometers down to the border where the trail starts, and then you hike 6 kilometers back to Waterton Townsite, so that's where we're gonna be staying tonight. So I was able to kind of wrap my head around this whole thing, get kind of right with the experience, and I got my emotions out, and that's okay. It was a lot. Even right now, I'm just starting to feel it a little bit, so I guess I didn't get it all out. But I'm really excited for this trip. There's a ton of stuff to be excited about, a little bit to be worried about as well, as was evident by the last week. And I'm gonna be sharing that with you guys, taking you along the adventure, having daily videos for you so that you can follow along and see what the Great Divide Trail is all about. One of the things you might have already noticed with the trail is that it is beautiful. We're gonna see some of the most beautiful places in the world. I live right next door to the Great Divide Trail, and I've been able to hike some of the spots on the trail, and let me tell you, you're in for a treat. Put your arms around me, baby, put your arms around me, baby, 'cause I just want to fly. Hey, bear. Oh, wildlife are gonna be a really big thing on this trail as well. We're in grizzly country the entire way. I'll show you guys as we go along the trail kind of what I'm doing in order to mitigate that, but number one strategy is avoidance, because I do not want to encounter an angry grizzly. And we have some scat right here, so they're hanging out in this area, they're eating, and it's sometimes really hard to see them with all these tall bushes, so we'll be calling out and singing every single day. And I wasn't exaggerating when I said that the Great Divide Trail is the wildest trail in North America. It starts off on a pretty cruisy out and back trail, but it very quickly gets really gnarly. Day 3 has been described to me by some pretty experienced hikers as one of the hardest days of hiking that they've ever done. And later on the trail, I have multiple 40-kilometer days, and I've never hiked 40 kilometers before. So hopefully the training that I've done will pay off at that point, and I hopefully will have my trail legs as well. And most of the trail is not cruisy like this. There's lots of creek crossings, there's mountain summits, ridge walks, and parts of the trail where there's just no trail. It's just a route that you're following and hope that you end up and find a trail down the road. But I'm really excited for those harder days. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this trail, is I want to challenge myself, I want to push my limits, and I want to take on the Great Divide Trail. You may have noticed that there are a lot of burned trees in the area we're hiking right now, and that's because there's a big forest fire in this area back in 2017. We'll see a lot more evidence of that tomorrow, but fire is going to be a big factor on my thru hike of the Great Divide Trail. You may have noticed that everything's a little bit hazy, and that's because there's smoke blowing over into this area from British Columbia, and most of British Columbia seems to be on fire right now, and that's making everything east of it very smoky. And while there's no fires along the Great Divide Trail right now, that's always a potential. I might have to get off trail if an area is on fire or go around it. But the issue right now is that smoke is irritating to the eyes, can make breathing difficult. Luckily, it's not too bad right now, and fingers crossed we get some rain soon. Day one and things are already not going as planned. I ran into a mother and her son who were hiking out from a backcountry campground that's along the lake, about 3 kilometers from the town site where I was gonna camp. And they said I could have their campsite for the night, and I think I'm gonna do it. It only adds 3 extra kilometers to tomorrow, and tomorrow wasn't gonna be a super difficult day anyways. And I get this beautiful campground. It's random camping, so I'm not gonna be camping in the middle of a bunch of RVs like I probably would at the town site. And it's a beautiful spot. So something not going as planned this time was okay, but I'm ready for the other things that happen because it's definitely gonna be happening over the next 37 days. So I think that was a pretty good first day. I was able to ease into things, get my legs underneath me, had my first thing go not to plan, but in a good way. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I think the theme of the day is gonna be bears. Like I mentioned, we're gonna be hiking through a burned forest, which is awesome bear habitat. There's berries everywhere in the burned area around here. As well, the campground that I'm gonna be staying at has apparently had a bear that isn't scared of humans and knows how to open up bear lockers hanging around. So that should be interesting. The gear of the day for today, we're gonna do this every single day, was the Hoka One One Speed Goat 4 shoes. I love these shoes, super comfortable, and I'm excited to take them on the rest of the trail. I'm gonna sign off for today, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.